Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Thornton, and I am excited about momentum. We're going to be talking about how to gain momentum, how to keep momentum going. We're going to talk about the importance of momentum. It's one of those super important subjects that we need to really think about because momentum can make or break you. It is so important. So we want to make sure we have positive momentum, get away from negative momentum, but we're going to go over all of this today. So you may want to grab a pen, a piece of paper, take some notes, but we're going to be talking about momentum. All righty, so let's get started. First off, let's talk about the importance of momentum. And I want you to think about this. Anything that you do or do consistently, you need to know why you're doing it. You have to know what is important about this. If you don't, you're not going to continuously stick with anything. So even momentum, building momentum, keeping momentum, if you don't know how important momentum is, you won't strive to build it and you won't keep it going. So we're going to talk about that for a minute. I want you to think about what is momentum. It's a capacity for progressive development, the power to increase or develop at an ever-growing pace. The project was in danger of losing momentum. Another definition, forward movement, and that's positive momentum. We'll talk about negative also, but the speed or force of forward movement of an object, the momentum gained on the downhill stretches of course, or of a course, it should say. But anyway, I want you to think about this. You know what? Even from the beginning of time and even in the Bible, it talks quite a bit about momentum. And again, I'm not going to turn this into a sermon, but I want you to think about momentum for a minute. So with that, this is just a great example. Remember David and Goliath? Well, David had Absalom, one of his sons, was going to take him out. He was going to kill him. And so I want to talk about momentum in this just to pinpoint it. Soon many others also joined Absalom, and the conspiracy gained momentum. So again, I'm not going to judge anyone or anything on this. I'm sure he was thinking that was the right thing to do. And David's like, what is going on? But here's what happened. A messenger soon arrived in Jerusalem to tell David, all Israel has joined Absalom in a conspiracy against you. And this is David, then we must flee at once or it'll be too late. David urged his men, hurry. If we get out of the city before Absalom arrives, both we and the city of Jerusalem will be spared from disaster. Just think about this. He was a pretty wise guy. I mean, I won't go into all of the different things, but he also knew, wait a minute, they have momentum. If we don't change that momentum or get out of the way of that momentum, we're going to be run over, or in this case, it would be killed. Well, I want you to think about this. What about anything in life? And as silly as this may be, a basketball game, which in the big scope of things is nothing. But have you ever watched any sport, and it could be football, it could be any team sport, to where one side starts gaining momentum, and you know what? They're not stopping. They're going. They don't want to stop. The other side, even if they don't have many timeouts, they will waste a timeout. Why will they do that? They'll waste their timeout because they have to stop the momentum. They know if that other side keeps rolling, what's going to happen? They're going to get so far behind, they won't ever catch up. So I want you to think about this. Momentum is huge. One more thing. Momentum. Think about downhill skiing or anything like this. But I want you to think about this and I'm a skier. I like to ski. I haven't skied a lot in the last many years, just because we've been working maybe way too much. We even live in a city that we have a ski resort. I can be skiing in 45 minutes from my house and be on the slopes. But you know what? We haven't been, and I don't regret that. We had a lot of seasons, a lot of things where we had a lot of fun skiing. But the point is, when you're going downhill, if you don't do turns, I don't care whether you're snowboarding or skiing, to slow down yourself, that momentum can gain so much that you can get out of control. I mean, momentum is huge. So I have a comment here, and I had a few comments already, but this is a great one. According to physics, and thank you for putting this in there, momentum is considered, or excuse me, according to physics, momentum is conserved, remains constant. If you're losing momentum, where does it go? Well, you know what? It is, I don't know how to say this. We always can be going forward, backwards, sideways, but once we get that train moving, I mean, momentum is really good. So where does it go? Well, I think it dissipates like a lot of different things. And I know that was just a silly question, but it's really gets you to think. I like it. So let's think about this. If you are gaining momentum, like downhill skiing, you have a lot of momentum. What if you then started trying to go up a hill while you were skiing? And all of a sudden, wait a minute, now I don't have momentum going fast. I'm now going up. Situations have changed. Things have altered. Okay, so we're going to move right along. Causes of negative momentum, which is also so important. We need to know what stops momentum. And I want you to think about this. Many times there's some things we can avoid. So once we get momentum going, we keep it going. One is negative attitudes. It could be with us, or, and I have something else on here, but I'm going to put them in place. Oh, it's not here. I thought it was on this slide. Okay, so it's coming up. So funny, and I thought I knew what was on this, but negative attitudes, yours or anyone else around you. You know what? The cool thing about your attitude is you have complete 100% control over your attitude. And it's not just, am I positive or negative? I mean, it could be, am I in fear? Am I in doubt? Those are negative attitudes. I am always the one that ends up at the bottom. That could be negative. It could be a lot of different things, but the cool thing is we can change that. But you and I, every one of us that are here listening, those that are listening in the future, you know, you may be watching this not live, but you have control. Everyone on the planet can control their attitudes. It really doesn't matter what's happening around you, even if you're going backwards. And I've went backwards many times, but had a super positive attitude, and we figure it out. What are we going to change? What are we going to do? But it doesn't mean that everything's always rosy and you have no problems. Poor quality of product or service. Sometimes that's outside of your control. Sometimes it's not. Let's say you're representing a company and you're not proud of that product. You're not proud of that service that you're representing. If you can't do anything about it, then you may need to leave. If you just go, I can't sell this to anyone. And I'll tell you, we bought a distributorship years and years ago. It was phenomenal what that product and service was. I loved it. And we became the #1 in the nation. We worked really hard, had a lot of great people surrounding me. It wasn't just me, it was our whole team. It was awesome. Well, you know what? The company started dropping their customer service. They started not doing what they said they were going to do, what we were selling. And when that started happening, I had conversations with them, said, we can't keep selling. I mean, we can't do this if you're not going to have great customer service. If you're not going to do what you say you're going to do, we can't sell this. We're not going to lie to people. Well, we lost a ton of money because ultimately we quit working with that company. And I could go down the whole history of it. It doesn't matter. But first off, we tried to go in and we tried to help them. And I even took on a lot of the roles and all that, but it didn't ever get right again. So the reality is, you though have a lot of things you can control, like your own personal product or your own personal service. Like you get to control you. Don't focus on what you can't control, but you can control whether you're going to keep selling that or representing that or giving great customer service. You get to control that. One last thing on stopping great momentum, causes of negative momentum, so to speak, is pride and arrogance. If you ever think you've arrived and you've got it all figured out, I will promise you you're getting ready to crash and burn sometime in the future, because no one ever arrives. No one has it all figured out. No one is perfect. No one. And we judge other people and we look at them and go, well, they're not perfect. They're not doing, and we get angry and we get upset until we go look in the mirror and go, well, wait a minute. I'm not doing half of the stuff I know I could do. So don't get in pride or arrogance. And by the way, don't be around people that are prideful, because if you're part of a company or a group that is full of pride and they think they have it all figured out, I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of what you do and go, we worked really hard to get here. That's a difference. A spirit of pride or arrogance is like, we're the best. No one's better than us. No one, it's like a whole different thing. So it's not pride of like, wow, I've worked really hard and I want some credit for it. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, moving right along.
Hey, quick message for you. If you've got big dreams in your heart, but you're frustrated because your reality isn't matching those desires, you've got to check out SuccessTek, our #1 selling program that's changing lives every single day. SuccessTek gives you the clarity, coaching, and momentum you need to be consistent and turn any dream into reality. Click the link below to check it out. Now let's get back to the video.
Stopping negative momentum. Remember this, and I know many of you will, especially if you worked with me over a long period of time, you know this saying, what you feed grows and what you starve dies. And it's just sowing and reaping. It's physics, kind of like what one of the comments in the Q&A is. It's simple, and we can call it, some people call it karma. I call it this: what you feed grows, what you starve dies, what you're going to sow, you're going to reap. I mean, it's however you look at it. Feed what you want to have momentum in. And a big part that I found in coaching is I don't have to tell people, shame on you for not doing that. They already know it. They've already probably beat themselves up enough. What I do is I focus on what is working. Let's feed what's working. And yes, we have to pay attention to what's not working. We have to. And we notice it, but it's a small percentage. The big percentage is, okay, now we're aware of that. What do we need to do to change it? How do we change this? And feed what is working, feed what you want to work, feed what, and even this, if something doesn't work, you go, well, now I have more information of what doesn't work. So I can tweak it and try it again, or I can completely change it. So feed what you want and forget focusing on the things that are not working. So here's another thought on momentum. How to start positive momentum. And by the way, this works positive or negative, and I'm sure you understand this, but everything starts very small. It starts out as a single seed. Seeds take time to grow. So I want you to think about this. We all want this great life. I mean, I want a great life. I want great health. I want things in life. I mean, don't we want to be respected and have fun and love and joy and finances and experiences? Of course we do. But we go, wait a minute, how do we get there? Plant a seed, water that seed, nourish that seed, watch that seed grow. But by the way, it's the same thing negative. So what can you do if you don't want a seed like a negative one? And this isn't on the slide, but you may want to really do this. If you plant a seed, let's say it's a perfectly good seed, it's the perfect soil, perfect season, it has the sun, it has the water, it has everything. And you go, wow, that seed is going to grow. I know it. Everything perfect conditions. But what if you went and you took a shovel and you dug up that seed? It's not going to grow, is it? Because you took it out of what it needed to grow, the earth, the sun, the water, the whatever. So what you want to do with negative ones is as soon as you have a negative thought, as soon as you have negative momentum starting to happen, what you want to do is dig up that seed. Don't feed it. Look at it. Don't fear. Don't get in doubt. Don't get in worry. Just change something. Change something to change that. And by the way, when I start getting a sick feeling in me, and I'm just going to talk sickness for a minute, and I've had symptoms to where my glands, I'd go to swallow and I'm like, I can't hardly swallow because they were sore. It's like, and a lot of people would go, oh, I hope I'm not coming down with something. Or I've had where my stomach was so upset, it was hurting so bad, I'd wake up that way or in the middle of the night. What I don't do is ever go, I'm going to get sick. I mean, I'm serious. And I say ever, I did it one time in the last 29 years and I got sick, but I let that grow. I let it grow. Normally in that area, now I need to work on lots of areas and I don't think I've arrived in that area and I can improve, just like I was saying before. But in that area, I've worked a lot on it. So when a symptom comes, I immediately speak out loud. I never get sick. Praise you, God. Never, ever, ever. I just don't get sick. And then I speak to my body and I tell it what to do and it does it. And I don't get sick unless I don't do that. And I let, like I did, those symptoms, and I started doubting and thinking about them. And I started all that stuff and I got sick, and I'm terrible at getting sick. I am a baby when it comes to getting sick. Maybe that's why I don't get sick, because I just hate it. But you have to think about it. Stop the ones you don't want to grow and keep feeding the ones you want to grow. I know this is so simple, but I'm telling you, success is simple. It's applying the simple principles, but applying it over and over and over and over until what? You get momentum. So with that, I want you to think about this: persistence. And I like that little poster or picture, but it says there's no giant step that does it. It's a lot of little steps. A decision needs to be made. Determination and persistence are a must. I want you to think about this. I had a friend, and he's still a friend of mine, talked to him not too long ago, but he was a partner, a business partner in a marketing company. One of, if not the best marketers I've ever met. I mean, he's just that solid. He's just awesome. I'll just put it that way. And he works hard and he's got lots of experience, very, very smart. Well, the point is, he said, you know how we got, and he had teams of like 400 people on his marketing team below him that he would work with, and in big companies and all this stuff that were on his team he would oversee. Well, he said, you know how we changed these, many hundreds of percent return? He would say we did it 1% at a time, 0.5%, 2%, but we just kept taking little steps, little tweaks. And then pretty soon they're like, wow, we're getting this great result. But here's what you have to do. You want momentum, you want this incredible life, make a decision. And I know you do, we all do, but make a decision. That means cut off from any other possibility. And determination and persistence, that means you just plain don't quit. Ever, 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 until you get the result you want. You just are determined. You make a decision. You cut off from quitting. And persistence is a big deal. And you know what? No one will know the effort that goes into anyone that's successful in any walk of life. And I won't say anyone and everything, because there's a lot of really jerky people and bad people out there. So I shouldn't say anyone and everyone. But I'm going to use a for instance. I mean, for a year now, it's almost been a year, we've been working on our software, developing it, putting time and money and more effort than anyone will ever appreciate. And we're still looking at, already we have things we know we can improve. We're like, stop, so we can release it. And it's getting closer all the time. But the point is, there have been times I've looked at it going, I want to quit. This is crazy. This is taking too long. This is taking too much effort and money and everything else. It's like, but you know what? You keep going. If you want the end result, you keep changing your thinking. You keep changing your words. You keep changing your actions. That's how you get there. And I know people, when they see what's going to happen. I already see it in my heart, my mind. I know where we're going and what we're doing. And they're going to go, oh, that's pretty lucky. I wish but they're not willing to pay the price. And I know one person that I coached years ago, and we're going to move on, but I remember her son. He was a bodybuilder, and I guess, and I never met him, but from what she said, he just worked out like 5 hours a day and did that 4 or 5 days a week, and just massive size. And people would say, wow, I wished I looked like that. And he said, if they wanted it bad enough, I can tell them exactly how to do it. They don't want it bad enough. They don't want to control their diet and do all the stuff that I have to do and go to the gym this much and do. He said they don't really, if they wanted it, they could say, I really wished. Well, wishing isn't going to do it. Are we paying the price? Well, that's a physical, external thing. Momentum also, and I will tell you this, is an inside job. Everything starts internally and works its way out. So I know I'm kind of going off script today, but I hope you get this. The momentum is you thinking right, saying right, changing internal, because when you get this, do you know that your words, your thinking is actually changing physical matter around you? And if you don't believe it, then you're wrong. Science can prove this. If you go, no, just my thinking and my words is not going to change everything, then you're right. For you, it won't, because you believe that. But science will prove you wrong. The way you think is changing your own body, is changing your own chemistry, is changing the way other people perceive you. What you say is changing your body. What you do is changing your body. It's changing your mind. It's changing your circumstances. It's kind of crazy how we have all this ability and control, but we need to make sure we get that momentum in the right direction. Okay, so moving right along. Momentum enhancers. Here was what I thought was on the slide a couple of slides ago. The right people. You know what? You have to get around the right people. And there's so many negative people, so many fearful people, so many doubtful, so many judgmental. People do it all the time. And you know what? Each one of us should go look in the mirror, because, again, I have a lot of work to do, and I know you do too. But you know what? Get around people that are going somewhere, that have what you want, that are working on themselves, that are growing, that can help you. People are the answer. People are the problem. People, get the right people around you. Because if you want to really go the opposite direction, again, it's the wrong people. Honesty and integrity. You know, be honest with yourself. Look at where you're at. Look at what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. Look at, am I focusing enough? I mean, I've looked at some areas where I'm working on, and you know what I started doing, and I'm going to keep doing? I am going to start affirming and thinking and visualizing these areas that I want to improve many times a day. And I already have started it, just so you know, because I know internally I have some roadblocks. I need to break through those. We all have them in different ways, but I had to be honest with myself. Integrity, be honest with yourself. You have to do it. What about integrity? That means doing the right thing even when people aren't watching. That means doing the right thing all the time for other people, for yourself. If you don't, do that, you're going to slow down, you're going to hurt your momentum. But when you do the right things, even when you're not getting credit for it, even when someone can't see that you're exercising or eating healthy or doing your affirmations or really visualizing, they're going to see the end result. That's called integrity, doing it even if you're not getting credit. Buy-in from your team. You want to get some momentum going? Have your team pulling in the same direction together. You're really on the same page. And it doesn't mean you all do the same work or the same function, but you're like, oh, this is where we're going and we're getting there. The right leaders. It's not just you. You need to become the right leader, but surround yourself with the right leaders. And I'm not talking just in growing your company. I'm talking the right leaders, become that leader, but in every aspect of your life. And if you are in a business, yes, become that, but also make sure you have good leaders on your team. And I like this. If you don't know who John Maxwell is, he's written maybe 30, 40 books. I don't know, maybe just 20 something books, but he's a great author and maybe the foremost authority on leadership in the world. I don't know, but he's way up there if he isn't. And he just keeps getting better and better and better and better. Well, he says only a leader can start momentum. If you can't make some heat, get out of the kitchen. I love that. It's like, but you can make it, by the way. So don't get out of the kitchen. Just decide to make some heat. Decide to be that leader. So we've talked about this a little bit, but I want to just focus on this a little bit more. It's easier to maintain momentum than start it. I want you to think about a plane taking off. You know, they have that full throttle to take off from ground. They have to reach a certain speed. They have to, you know, they're going against gravity, so they have to have enough to maintain it, but to even climb and climb and climb, they're using many times all they have to get there. But once they get it up at cruising altitude, they back off on the throttle. They're not going full speed ahead anymore, usually. And it's the same thing with the train. It takes a lot of effort to get that thing moving. But I want you to think about that. What would happen if a train or a plane stopped instantly? They would crash. That's what a crash is called. They would have a lot of damage. But you know what? Once they're going, doesn't take much to keep it going. Now, it can stop pretty quickly if you have brakes and the right things in place and you have all the, things, but it's not going to stop on a dime. But your goal is to get positive momentum going and then just keep it going. And there are certain areas I can tell you right now, I've formed habits and patterns, and I am really happy with the momentum I have in certain areas of my life. There's other areas, oh my goodness, we're working on them. And you know what? The cool thing is I don't ever want to not be working on growing and getting better. And I think we all should be that way. I want you to think about this. This was just a mountain. But what happens with momentum? You can move the mountain. You can go through the mountain. But I want you to think about this. Everything starts out as a thought and a little plan. Then they had to say, how are we going to do this? Are we going to get, earth movers out there? Are we going to get some dynamite to cut through the hole? How are we going to turn it into a really nice round hole? Are we going to then pave it? Are we going to, on and on and on and on, just to make that through there. It was a lot of work, a lot of effort, and I wasn't there. I've never done anything like that, but you know it. We all know that. How does that happen? You start with an idea. Then you start planting it. You go back to that. You gain momentum. You look at your plans. You start taking the simple steps one at a time. And when you get momentum, it's like, no, we already have 20 people coming out next week that are working on this job. We've already had the road come up to this point. We've rerouted the road. It's coming up. Now we can go through the mountain. So we've rerouted some things, but now we're going to actually pave going through or whatever it is. The point is you can do incredible, incredible things with momentum. I want you to think about this. That's where I grew up. Not that exact spot, but in Phoenix. And I was there for 30 years. And you know what? If you go to the outskirts of Phoenix or that whole area, there's desert, a lot of desert. But this is what it looks like now. And these are a little older pictures. They're not brand new pictures, but it's a city. You don't see all the cactus, see like any other city anywhere. You know why? Because it did everything that we're talking about, one step at a time. But we go, all right, I get this, I get this. What gets it going like that? Momentum. And by the way, it could crash or burn very, very quickly, not only a city, but anything if you have negative momentum. I know we've all seen that. We've seen that in many, many things. Things crash and burn very, very, very quickly. If we don't stop that negative momentum and start increasing positive momentum, it can go in either direction. But once you have it, it's like, wow, we're rolling here. We're going to just keep going and keep building and keep having fun, and because you have momentum. Okay. So as we're wrapping up this training for today, I want to ask you, where will you focus? You personally. You want momentum in one area of your life, maybe 10 areas, maybe 3, I don't know. But where are you going to focus your time, your energy? And I want you to get serious about this right now. So I thank you. I'm so glad that you have showed up for this training, but that's not enough. We all need to take some action. We've got to do something. So choose one area of your life that you're going to start gaining some momentum in. You're going to do it internally. You're going to do it externally. You're going to plan on what you need to do. You're going to keep that in front of your mind. You're going to start speaking differently. But if you try to do every single area at once, you might shut down. In fact, most people do when they try to do too much. So choose one area until you start getting momentum. Then you choose another area. And you make sure you keep watching the first one so it keeps momentum going. But choose an area. So, and we're wrapping it up now, but I would ask you, as soon as you're off of this training, stop and write it down. What's the area that you want to get momentum in? And if you already have momentum on something, choose a different one. But then don't think it's just going to happen. Make a solid plan. You've got to, success does not happen by accident. So make a plan. And it's like, and I'm telling you right now, I'm redoing all of my visions and my plans, and many of them are very, very similar and very much the same, because we're going in the direction we want to go. And I'm talking me personally and my wife and myself and all of that, but our businesses as well. But you know what? We need different plans. We need to keep changing because things are always changing. So you need to make a solid plan. So if you don't have a plan that you're really, really confident will work, start researching, start figuring out what you need to do. Come up with that plan. You got to make sure that you have a solid plan. And then this is how simple it is. Do something every day to move forward. I mean, every single day. Just something. And then if you can do more, do more. Like I told you, I'm programming myself right now several times a day until my mind and my heart get really, really believing the area I want to focus on and I want to change. So I've decided what I'm going to do in the major area, but I'm still, finishing up the plans and in other areas. But I have one specific one that I'm focused on like crazy right now, and I'm seeing results, and I will continue to see results in that. But what about you? Are you going to do this? And I know I can't force you. I wouldn't if I could. But my point is, choose in your life, your business, your finances, your relationships, whatever it is. Choose an area, make a plan, and then figure out what you're going to do. And don't just get off of this and not do something. If you can't do it right now, block out time within the next 24 hours to do it, because if you wait too long, you probably won't. So with that, we're wrapping up today. I wish everyone an awesome, awesome, awesome Friday, an awesome week. We will see you next week. And remember, as always, to expect success. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Hey, real quick, if you're a business owner who's struggling because you're not making the kind of money you want to, but you're ready to turn your business into a money printing machine and finally create the freedom you've been looking for, I want to invite you to work with me and my team. For over 25 years, we've been helping entrepreneurs and leaders scale their businesses faster than they ever thought possible without adding more stress or hours to their week. Click the link below to learn how to work with us.